So it's also a good takeaway pick as well as good to enable your split pusher if they so choose to go that way. Ziggs and Gragas from Flash Wolves. So this is a lot of wave clear, a lot of displacement. You take the Ziggs as well as you take one of his biggest counter picks in the Gragas, which is good at displacing him. I think it's a very nice touch. And if I know this team at all, I would assume that the Ziggs is going to go to locking because Bruce will want something flashy.
It almost suggests to me that it's saying that, well, if you are going to play a composition, they're going to try and execute us down. We have so much wave clear. It is going to be quite safe. It's going to be very hard for you to try and find anything after the fact, right? So I like it from them. It's going to give them the ability to try and contest objectives as well. But this Janna that's been locked in very early on, that's an insanely high priority on a pick that we don't see too commonly.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange that they've gone for Janna. We've seen a lot of priority around things like Nami, to some degree the Lulu as well, you know, and the Janna, yeah, I kind of get what they're trying to go for. It does give them the chance to reset and disengage from the opponents with the Monsoon and everything. Gives them a little bit of pressure with the Howling Gale as well, but I have to wonder, does this mean that they've kind of given up on playing towards a full 5v5 kind of composition? Just use the ultimate, try and reset. In the meantime, you get Domain and Power off to the side lane, trying to assassinate someone, trying to clear out these turrets, and maybe, just maybe, play to a composition that Flash Wolves don't have a good response for.
I think there's a lot of layers that we have to unpack here, right? And my theory is that FENNEL Adversity want the Janna to make sure that they don't get ran over while Power tries to split push. So they might be going that route. The downside to that is if you take a Kai'Sa to pair it, such a short range marksman, there's going to be very big limitations on what she can do in terms of wave clear and defending turrets. And Janna Kai'Sa as well, not a traditional duo that you would ever see. Flash Wolves, it's going to be a Darius as well as an Olaf. Good comp choice to just try to run things down. Olaf ignores Janna completely as well, so that's going to be a nice pickup.
Would you still be content, though, with this as like a strong 4-man if they are to go to Fiora in this final pick here? Because, I mean, your blue side, right? It's not going to be the easiest option to try and lock that in and go surprise, surprise like the Flash Wolves can offer. So I'm curious if they are still going to go down this route of busting that one out there, Grandin, because, I mean, Flash will certainly have a strong response. Joe says no. You can play Orianna. You can disrespect me by playing in the bot lane. I'm going to show you how you play it in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We're going back on the Orianna. It's an interesting pickup. I think Orbo basically was describing just bet in a better way the kind of idea that I was trying to go for. FENNEL Adversity, you know, we asked whether this was going to be a case of Power and Domain off in the side lane trying to make things happen. It still might be the case, but with different priority this time around. So having Domain be the one to snowball ahead and it's Power instead that's enabling him. Or they could flip it around as well.
It's time. It's time. It's the Bruce Akshan. It's Bruce playing Akshan to counterpick the Orianna. It's time, guys.
How does this work? How does Akshan take out Orianna?
Okay, let me propose to you a thought experiment. You're Orianna, chilling in the mid lane, farming with your ball. Akshan flies out of the bush and he grapples on top of your face. What do?
I use my ball.
You die.
To die.
True.
You die. So this is a really efficient counter pick. It's only counterable by jungle gangs to make sure he can't play that aggressive. What does Rengar do? Farm to 5. It's done. It's a very good draft. It's a very good answer. You cannot punish this Akshan.
I think we've been begging really for this Akshan in the mid lane for such a long time now because we've seen it commonly paired in the bot lane where we don't really think Akshan truly excels. I mean, he's one of those champions that needs a lot of critical chance to try and really amp up the damage, to go toe-to-toe to like Zaya and Kaiser and so on. But Grandin, final thoughts on this one? Are you a believer?
Yeah, but for Flash Wolves.
That doesn't count.
It's just as easy as that. The man's got one word and he says, I'm a believer. It could be a 2-0. Let's throw it back to our casting team for that game number 2.
Thank you very much, Kimmy. Welcome back, everyone, into the second series of today. And I'm back. Riku, how are you feeling so far? We've seen the first game very dominant for Flash Wolves, and now we've seen the composition for game 2.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this one for sure because another Akshan coming in, but this time around it's not going to be in the dual lane. It's going to be set up for Bruce here in the mid lane, which, you know, it's always 50-50 when you see an Akshan just because of how poorly it has performed as a champion itself during the regular season in their respective regional tournaments. So, you know, it's Flash Wolves. It is Bruce. Bruce, definitely one of the best players coming from Flash Wolves. He is very power hungry when it comes to gold, and I'm sure for kills as well, especially if he can take the 1v1 on.
Yeah, and the problem I think that we see for Akshan is when it comes to the team fights, he only has like single targeted damage. But when it comes to that aspect, he shines through and through, especially with the buff that they recently received in patch 2.4b or patch 2.4a to receive like crit damage and crit basically onto his skill kit. So I think that is something that we need to expect. And Panel has touched up onto it. right? Action can counter onto Oriana, just surprise him with a surprise attack, and Shaw cannot do anything out of that.
Yeah, it's going to be very sad for sure. Especially it's Doming here on the Rengar, having to just farm, just as what Omo has mentioned. So we'll see what the setup is going to be here, as this is a 3-man roam.
Ooh, 3v3, Flash Wolves actually goes in for the counter engage. Doming, a lot of damage coming through. Apprehend. But no kills will be done as of yet. Bruce immediately responds, and Cookie as well. FENNEL University forced to back away.
I really like this coming from Flash Wolves. They anticipated the possible lane swap here, as Danny wants to escape the clutches of a Gragas and Ziggs, just because of the setups that Eason can provide. It's kind of similar to having like a Galio with you as support, so it enables a big engage. Especially, you know, Kaisa just wanting to farm, be a little chill during the laning phase, so most of the movements are going to be coming from Flash Wolves, which is scary, just because they have Bruce. If ever he does have priority in the lane, you can bet he'll go in rogue, be invisible perhaps, maybe roam towards top, or maybe down bot.
Yeah, definitely. I think that presence is going to be very important for Danny later on. Especially, I think FENNEL University will be hugely depending on this Oriana to deal off those massive team fights and start the game off. Because the shockwave that can potentially change things up for FENNEL University if they once again lose their early game. But so far, a Pookie jungle invade.
I like how you brought that up, you know, the shockwave, but Doming here, go in.
Yeah, going in, actually jumps through, but you have Eason into the backside. Flash will now be burned. That's gonna be first blood for Flash Wolves going for the jungle invade. But now that will be the flash as well for Shaw. Gets the kill down. That will be the 1-for-1 jungle for these two teams.
Now, really nicely done. Flash Wolves still get first blood out of that, so they get that bonus gold. And that is the roam potential that we were talking about. The way that Cookie is able to comfortably duel just because of his kit as an Olaf itself. Of course, Doming doesn't want to be bothered. Bruce as well, being able to join in the fights, getting priority, and the possible roams coming from Eason as well. We talked about this before. Danny is just going to be happy farming, especially the first 15 minutes of the game, but it is locking that can clear the wave. No problem. Eason can roam around the map.
Yeah. Although that 1-for-1 happened, I think the most important thing that we need to take note of is Rengar got a passive stack. And that is increased 5% damage coming from FENNEL University coming into the jungle role. So I think at the end of the day, even if Flash Wolves has gotten the trade-off, FENNEL University has gone the better lead out of that.
That is true, getting early kills towards Doming for sure on this Rengar. And you mentioned earlier, you know, the shockwaves coming from Shaw. This is the cat ball. We've seen the cat ball strat for the very first time back in the summer season, and I believe it was GeekFam that executed that with a Rengar and, of course, an Oriana. Thrill of the Hunt Doming. The ball is on towards him. Easy setup for that shockwave. So we're going to anticipate that perhaps later on. There's also power as well, but I really doubt he'd be able to join these fights because we've seen game number 1. Ysera has been keeping power busy constantly.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that we need to take note of, especially I think that was like, what, 4 roams? 5 roams for the whole duration of that game number 1 for Flash Wolves, really trying to mess power up, but so far they're not able to do so. But here on top side, Ysera just pressures in, too much damage to deal with, and Guillotine will not bring him down. No reset for Ysera.
Is able to bait out the barrier, so that is a huge thing that FENNEL or Power will need in the upcoming fight, especially if the fights are going to be towards the Dragon and the Rift Herald. So looking at the Summoner spells, everything complete except for Power's barriers. That's going to be very important. Flash Wolves, on the other hand, might be happy getting a pick, perhaps, just getting priority in the mid lane. They could copy-paste what they've done in game number 1, get that Rift Herald, unlock topside, and unleash Ysera on that 4-1 split push. So FENNEL is just going to do the same as well, settle for this air Drake, which is going to be very helpful. I mean, with the movement speed, they want to do the roams with Doming as well, and possibly match what Flash Wolves has been doing with the invades.
Yeah, I think FENNEL University at this point respects Flash Wolves' composition. They went in for the parallel diversion, But Flash Wolves going to secure the Rift Herald and FENNEL University going for the Cloud Dragon. This gives you extra mobility, especially as you stated a while ago, onto Doming Shaw duo. Having the mobility and extra sustainability for Rengar to initiate those fights are going to be crucial.
We'll see if they're gonna allow that. Low. Okay.
Shockwave just disengages, but huge damage coming from Ziggs disables Shock to go for the counter attack up against Flash Wolves. And so far, Flash Wolves is gonna go home. Even if Rift Herald doesn't go for the second charge, they go home with a tower first blood.
Yeah, opening up mid lane as well. Therefore, Bruce can get a little bit more access to the outer layers of the jungle of FENNEL Adversity, even Cookie as well. So this is going to be very important for FENNEL to establish vision control to make sure that their entrances are in check, or else Doming might possibly die once more in his own jungle. So for Flash Wolves, especially with locking with his global ult, semi-global, I feel like the damage is going to be definitely enough if Flash Wolves just invades the jungle and finds somebody there.
Yeah. If they can, though. Because remember, Cookie for Flash Wolves, mobile with the Ragnarok, and Ragnarok doesn't really have that super long cooldown. In FENNEL Adversity, Doming, we need to take note that he already has 2 stacks against Flash Wolves. So that's 10% damage increase for FENNEL Adversity so far. And I think if they can capitalize that to bring it into more passive stack for Rengar, that would be amazing for FENNEL Adversity. Because at 10-minute mark, if he doesn't succeed onto getting all those stacks, it's going to be very devastating for them. Going to put them at a very, very huge deficit. Because at that point in time, Flash Wolves will potentially have like 2 core items already built in.
Yes, it will definitely depend on execution here. Again, we're looking at Shaw, who is, again, one of the best Orianna players, especially when you look at his performance in the local, playoffs in the Philippines. So we'll see how the cat ball strat is going to work out. And we'll see, once the Rabadons is attained by Shaw, we're going to be expecting most likely the big shockwave plays against Flash Wolves.
Yeah, definitely. I think FENNEL Adversity really needs to do that. Because if Shockwave doesn't come through, who else is going to engage? You have Power, sure. You have Raffi, sure. But is it really like a centric CC that can bring them down? Potentially not, potentially no. But now, Flash Wolves going in for the 5-man roam into the bot side of the map. That's going to be locked in onto Greg as Heason's going to fall down. Cataclysm locking down onto Olaf, but Flash Wolves will be forced to back away because the pressure that FENNEL Adversity is providing for this game.
Yeah, that is just 2 ults down. The Shockwave is still available for the next fight, and that's the reason why Flash Wolves decides to back away, because again, their big form of teamfight engage is going to be coming from Eason. If he's gone, the secondary engage would be a Sarah, and it's going to be a little bit awkward with the apprehend as FENNEL Adversity. We'll see that coming.
Yeah, and by the way, Doming, Rengar, 3 stacks. 1, 2, 3, 2 more missing for Rengar here to be able to max out on the passive. So 15% damage increase. He built onto the Trinity Force first item, and I think he's going in for more of the overall roundup of this item as a whole, because it gives you sustainability, because of the HP that Phage provides. It also gives you a little bit more extra damage coming in from the unique passive coming from Trinity Force. And so far, good pickup for FENNEL Adversity and Flash Wolves, also providing a very close match. Commendable plays, only 2 kill difference, but still the difference when it comes to gold is only 1.7k.
Yeah, I think this is a far better game from what we've seen in game number 1. They've managed to stabilize the early game, which Flash Wolves is really great at accelerating once they get an early lead. And that's the reason why FENNEL Adversity, we're seeing them with their classic style of controlled aggression.
Look at the flag and Drag, not going to be able to connect, but now Cataclysm connects onto 2 Mega Inferno Bomb. Huge damage to the backside. Action ultimate as well. Brings Raffi's life. Almost getting the kill down, but Doming is very low. Forces out the Flash away. That's going to be the kill. Shockwave to provide defensive attack up against Flash Wolf, but that will be the 3-4-1. If Flash Wolves is not stopping with the Infernal Drake alive, they can push through with this objective and go further away from FENNEL Adversity.
Yeah, more towers for Flash Wolves and more objectives as well. With the Infernal Drake, gotta love the added damage for sure. And yeah, Doming tried to penetrate that backline. Had that mini 1v1 with Bruce, but there wasn't that damage. The damage has not been found at all, and Bruce was able to take him down And FENNEL Adversity definitely needs that cat ball.
Oh,
Send that
Rafi.
ball on Rengar,
Yeah.
on Doming, and burst someone down. And whatever additional damage you need, Doming will provide on this Rengar.
Yeah, definitely. The FENNEL Adversity, they have the information that Flash Wolves went in for the recall. So they're going in for the turret trade. Good call from them. This alleviates some of the goal disadvantage that they have gotten because of the Flash Wolves taking a turret into the bot side and mid side and also the Infernal Dragon. And so far, the gold is equal.
Yeah, so far, this is, again, FENNEL Adversity. This team, when they made their debut in the Wild Rift Icon series, they started off, what, 8th place in the playoffs, 3 losses straight to elimination. Now in fall season, here they are, 2nd seed coming from the Philippines, and fighting toe-to-toe with Flash Wolves. Flash Wolves, with again, this roster is such an experienced team coming from LoL PC. So this is insanely huge now that they've managed to try and stabilize and trying to find these opportunities to fight across the map.
Look at the ball that FENNEL Adversity is doing. Cataclysm comes through, coming from Jarvan 4 into the backside. Shockwave on the east. He will falter as Locky will die as well. Doming tries to get the kill. That will be the double coming from FENNEL Adversity as they take 2 away, 3 away, and Flash Wolves cannot do anything, and the Baron Nashor is alive for them to take.
Yeah, beautifully done. No jungler. That's 20 seconds on the clock. No Ziggs as well for the poke behind the Baron pit. FENNEL Adversity, they have to secure this one, and they will.
Isera goes for the apprehend. Huge damage coming in from Isera. That's going to be guillotine. Reset comes through, but the root will actually delay him. Isera will actually try down, but that will only be the 2 or 1 kill coming for Flash Wolves in trade for the Baron and a 3 kill. 4 kill, 5 kill for FENNEL Adversity.
Yeah, that was definitely a desperate attempt, especially, I suppose, Isera managed to get a 3-man apprehend, and there's a lot of low health targets, and tried to minus the numbers of the Baron buffed players from FENNEL Adversity, but it ain't enough because look at that, Danny. 403 on this Kai'Sa. We know that a Kai'Sa can get insanely strong, especially as the game progresses, getting that aggressive killer instincts and just shredding people down no matter what. And Isera and Eason will take the blunt of that for sure later on. And now the tables have turned. 5k gold lead for FENNEL.
Yeah, too much damage coming in from Flash Wolves though. Mega Inferno Bomb clears out the waves. Good thing for them, however. Well, Adversity's not stopping just outright. As Power and Gauss goes for the jungle invade. Readied up the flag. Not gonna push through. And so far, Flash Wolves is just going very patiently for the defense.
And this is just the big wave clear coming from Locking, but the rest of the lanes may not be so lucky.
Yeah, Trope the Hunt. Actually there
Shaw is not
already,
there.
now jumping in. Cataclysm to follow up. That's going to be the root. CC Chain is going to be flawless. Not going to be able to get the kill. But they've gotten a tier 1 turret. Almost getting through. That was the Flash Proto, but apprehend. But too short of a distance. An axe versus, what, 1 meter? 1 meter apart? Coming from these two fights?
I'd say it is
Calculated.
Yeah, calculated there by Power. It was just so close. I mean, if that connected, that would have been the end of its life, and that would have been what, 30 seconds gone. Flash Wolves could have set up possibly for the next dragon, which is the Mountain Drake. FENNEL Adversity would love to have this because of the shields. Locking is going to be very painful after picking up the Rabadons for sure, so the shield will be utmost useful in the upcoming fight.
Yeah, definitely. Mountain Dragon will give you extra sustainability on top of Shaw and Raffi. Because Shaw has shield, Raffi has heal. Pretty much, they are now healing like there's no end.
There's no tomorrow?
Yeah, healing like there's no tomorrow. You know what? It's the same thing.
It is
Maybe
the
a
same.
different wording. Yeah, the same. But now, FENNEL Adversity, you know, they're pushing through. You have Bruce split pushing top lane. Flash Wolves only has 4 members to defend. They can't do it. Too much gap. FENNEL Adversity takes 2 tier 2 turret out of that on top of the Mountain Dragon.
I think that's pretty huge. Flash Wolves just trying their best to equalize the map. Bruce wasn't able to take that inner tower down at top side. And FENNEL Adversity, this is their game plan. Remember, when we looked at the Barriera matchup, It was the Elder Drake win condition. It is that scaling win condition. They thrive in these late games. So for Flash Wolves now, how do they deter that from happening before the time comes? Because 14 seconds on the clock, now Baron, they want to bait this. Do they see this coming?
Ooh, they don't, because now it's gonna be Power going in for the flash, going in for the flag and drag with Cataclysm and locking on to 2 Mega Inferno Bomb. But good explosive cast, you know what? Flash Wolves saves FENNEL Adversity's life, and now that's gonna be the counter engage, re-engage for FENNEL Adversity. Bruce went in for the Stasis Enchant to delay much longer. Apprehend coming through, Shockwave for the triple. Flash Wolves will be forced to back away with Baron Nashor alive. FENNEL Adversity is pushing this through.
This is crazy. Look at Cookie so low. No Ragnarok, no Flash. That means no Flash over the Baron pit. Ragnarok tried to attempt to steal. That's not going to be available. FENNEL Adversity, though, they're very low. They have to be careful from Ysera.
Oh.
There's Nux and Guillotine.
Yeah, Dominic's gonna be flashing away. That's gonna be Smite sewing them. And that will be the kill for FENNEL Adversity once more. Power goes in. Disengages. Double kill for FENNEL Adversity. This is a 3v5. FENNEL Adversity, if they win this, they can finish this game. That's gonna be Trail of the Hunt. Jumping back again. Power with a flag and drag. Although that's a kill for the Mega Inferno Bomb, that will be the 3-4-1 in favor for FENNEL Adversity.
What a fight from FENNEL. Their target prioritization is so good. They knew that Ysera will be the next threat because of how low health they were in that fight. So they wanted to just focus him down. And after that, what else can Flash Wolves do? The next one was Bruce at that time. And good news, a little bit of good news, I suppose, for Flash Wolves. They deter the Baron take. But at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that it's already a 10k gold lead. Let's take a look at that fight again. Ysera basically isolated from everyone else. The cask has been used beforehand, so the big disengage that they needed to get out of this sticky situation is not available.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, they also used up the TP, which means a longer cooldown disables the potential for Bruce to even go quickly into those massive team fights later on. As you stated, it was a good call. I think FENNEL Adversity just wanted to bait down Flash Wolves to try and come here. Fight with me, fight. And they did. FENNEL Adversity just bit that down and got the kill onto 3 members away from Flash Wolves.
And the way that they, again, just focus one target down is just very organized. The way that they maneuver around these fights are very insanely impressive, especially against, we talked about this, Flash Wolves. Their roster comprised of a very experienced team. And we'll see now, this is it. This is it. The Elder Drake win condition. Again, on top of all the gold in the world. And now FENNEL, they're looking for it. Flash Wolves has no control over the opposite side. The lanes are not pushed in their favor. FENNEL has complete control across the map.
Yeah, it all boils down to this. The Elder Dragon will be summoned up in 8 seconds. Who will take it will potentially get that huge advantage and can finish this game off. But Flash Wolves now preparing for a team fight. FENNEL Adversity zoning them back away. Huge damage already coming through. Look at Cookie, half HP before the fight even began.
Yeah, that's going to be very painful. Cookie may have Ragnarok coming into this Elder, but he's just going to get shredded down by Danny. Look at this, half HP already.
Yeah, Flash Wolves needs to contest, needs to come through, and Ysera is on the front line. Ragnarok coming up, but FENNEL Adversity takes the Elder Dragon. Now Flash Wolves is on the edge. Ysera is onto the backside. Will get that kill down for FENNEL Adversity. That will be the 2-4-0, and FENNEL Adversity is not stopping to provide adversity to Flash Wolves. Triple kill for Danny. That will be the legendary as they take the kill down. Locking will be the only one alive in this game as they try to defend. But could they? As Shaw will now flash in. That is almost the kill. Stasis will delay the fight. And FENNEL Adversity just provided an adversity for Flash Wolves as they take the second game of the series.
This is a crazy series we have.